Hi everyone, I'm CaliKim. Welcome to my garden. It's winter right now and it's time to prune the blackberries. Now a lot of people make blackberry pruning way too complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Today I'm going to show you how to prune it the easy way in a few simple steps so you have lots more blackberries to harvest in the spring. The first thing you need to know about blackberries is that they're perennial, which means they die back in the winter, go dormant in the wintertime, and will come back in spring with a lot more berries if you prune them. Another thing to know about pruning is you want to wait till your plants go dormant, which is typically in the late fall or winter. And you can see here my plants are kind of starting to change color. They're not producing berries anymore. This is the prime time for pruning. The next thing you need to know is that they have two different types of branches, commonly called canes on blackberry bushes, floricanes and primocanes. Now this is where a lot of people get tripped up. It's really hard to remember which is which. The floricane, super easy to remember, it fruits. So F for fruit. So these are the canes or the branches that fruited this year. And I've got one right here on this bush in front of me that has the two different types of canes on it. So the floricane is right here. It's a little bit of a dark brown color right now. If you're in an area where it's really cold, it might already be very woody and dead looking. And if you follow this branch all the way to the end, you can see there's a few little dead blackberries. So this is definitely the fruiting cane or the floricane. Now after the first year, so this actually becomes dead wood over the winter and is not doing the bush any good. The second type of cane is called the primocane. It is a first-year cane, prime for first. And it is not a fruit-producing cane the first year. You can see here it's a light brown color as opposed to the floricane, which is a darker brown color. It's only a vegetative cane the first year, which means it only has leaves on it. But this cane is the magic for next year because this is what will produce the fruit in the next season. So to keep it simple, all you need to do to prune off your blackberries is take off the floricanes, the fruiting canes for this year, and cut back the primocanes to about 2 feet. Those are the ones that will fruit next year. So let's get into it. Now a lot of blackberry bushes can have really nasty thorns, so make sure you wear gloves. Mine happen to be the thornless variety, which makes it really nice. So here we're going to go to the floricane and we're actually going to prune it all the way down to the ground. Now I know this seems very drastic, but this is just going to be dead wood and does the plant absolutely no good. And this way, by removing the floricanes, the plant can have more energy into producing fruit on the primocanes. Now the primocanes tend to shoot off in every which direction and tend to get very, very unruly. So they definitely need to be trimmed down now during the dormant season so that more of the plant's energy goes into the roots and less into all the vegetative growth that is here. So you're basically going to prune the primocanes down to about 2 or 3 feet. Now don't get too picky or exact with this. Just prune them down. And by taking off all these branches, believe me, it sends a lot more energy into berry production for next year. So I'm just going to get my blackberry patch all pruned up and ready for the winter time so it can take its nice dormant winter's nap and then come alive once the spring hits. And you'll be surprised. These are going to look like dead branches, but when the spring hits, they're going to pop back into life and grow new berries in no time. So here we've got the darker wood or the floricane, the fruiting branch for this year. Trim it down to the ground. The primocane, a little bit lighter green. Vegetative only, we're going to trim it down to about 2 feet. And these blackberry bushes were actually transplanted a couple of times last year during our deck renovation. So we didn't get a lot of production on them this year because we moved them so much, but I'm really hoping for better luck next year, especially with the good pruning I'm doing here today. Whew, look at this one. Another great thing about blackberries is they will actually root themselves right in the ground, so you'll have lots of free plants for next year. In fact, when we were doing the deck, we cut all the blackberries out and we actually had some growing up through the deck because they're just so hardy, such hardy plants and really hard to get rid of where you don't want them. Floricane, a little bit darker brown. Primocane, light green. And I like to work methodically from one side of the garden bed to the other, just to make it time efficient and also keep a refuse can right nearby so that you don't have to pick up all your branches later. And these can be composted too for more black gold for the garden. On this bush, these are both a lighter green color, which leads me to believe they're both primocanes. So again, trim it to about 2 feet. And don't worry about it if you make a few mistakes, no big deal, just keep it simple. The most important thing is that you get them pruned in the winter while they're dormant so they can burst back into life and grow more berries in the spring. But blackberries, all in all, are very forgiving. So if you make a few mistakes, it's really no big deal. You're still going to get a good berry crop as long as you prune. And here this one is actually growing out from under our deck. So we are going to cut this one way back. We'll probably have to keep an eye on it. It might come poking up through the deck pretty soon. And I actually have a time-saving tip for this in my new book, The 10-Minute Gardener, so you can do it in about 10 minutes or less. You can pre-order it now over on our website at CaliKimGardenandHome.com. And when you do, you get an invite to our book launch party happening in December, as well as a free 2025 10-minute calendar with time-saving tips and color photos from the book. You can see by working from one side of the garden bed to the other, you really feel like you're getting a sense of accomplishment because down there it's looking all clean. So it kind of gives you some motivation to keep going. Here's a very, very long primocane. In fact, it's starting to grow under the deck. And would you look at the end here? This one actually has roots. So this would be a great one to prune off to about 2 feet and actually stick in the ground to root for a free plant. So I'm just going to try that right here. Just dig a little hole in the soil. They root so easily. Nothing fancy here, guys. Cover it with soil. Let the roots get established for a new plant next year. What a difference. The blackberry plants are all pruned up, looking good, and ready to produce more berries once the weather warms up in the spring. Now in southern winter climates like we have here in Southern California, there's really not any special care you need to do for your blackberries during the winter time. They're going to look dead, but they'll pop back again into life in the spring. However, in northern climates with hard freezes, blackberries definitely benefit from some mulching around the roots during the winter time, just to insulate the roots, regulate the soil temperature, conserve the moisture. So I love to make use of free resources like shredded leaves. Put a couple inches around the base of the plant just to protect them from dying in the wintertime. Now they are very hardy plants, but this extra layer of protection really does help them in the winter. So just remember, keep it easy, don't stress about it. Gardening is supposed to be fun. Floricanes, fruiting, get cut all the way down to the ground. Primocanes leap to about 2 to 3 feet for next year's fruiting vines. Thanks for watching. See you next time in the garden.